Welcome to the Real Wealth Podcast. In this week's episode, I'm joined live and in person by Josh Dexter. Josh was kind enough to come up to Scotland and spend some time with me. During this episode, we talked about how he successfully scaled his fitness business to then going all in on Limitless University, where he now coaches business owners to create massive scale in their own business. Josh is a really inspiring guy, massively mastered the whole mindset thing, and this is a really good chat, so let's get into it. Josh Dexter, welcome to the Real Wealth Podcast and welcome to Scotland. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for braving the weather.
It's not too bad.
It's not quite as sunny as the last time we met in Marbella, though.
No, definitely not.
No, I'm missing those days for sure. I had a couple of holidays out there at the start of the year, and it seems like a distant memory now, unfortunately.
I'm back soon.
Oh, are you? Are you still doing another event?
3 weeks. No, so I'm back in Marbella. I'm actually moving back out there with the wife.
All right.
So that event solidified it for me. I was like, I need to
definitely. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Sure.
Because I'm interested in that, and that's one of my questions actually was, this kind of lifestyle by design and, having that ability to. But we'll get to that. I want to start from a place of getting to know a bit more about your background. I seen a video you did that was recommended to you by Aaron Branch recently on YouTube, where you were just kind of explaining your backstory. And whilst I almost feel like it's a bit of a cliche in some of the podcasts that we always start from that point, but it's so important to get a flavour for the man and the history, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, my background is predominantly in fitness. So I've been in the fitness industry for a very, very long time. So since I was 16. So it was always something you actually said earlier when we was talking earlier on upstairs. But a lot of people get into fitness from the passion first, and that was exactly how I got into fitness as well. Like, people would just kind of come into me and asking me for help. Yeah. Because I started training because of rugby, because I'm skinny, I was tiny. So I started getting in the gym and started training, and people started noticing. I think I had one summer where I just literally just blew up over summer. When you're that young, you're just quite responsive. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people used to come to me for help, and over time I kind of monetized that and came out as a personal trainer, like grew my online coaching business off the back of that too. Very, very abbreviated version of my story right now, but if anyone wants to watch the full story, obviously they can go and have a look.
I heard you had a little flurry into accountancy at the start of this all, and you realised that was a horrible way.
Yeah, absolutely. That was something that my dad wanted me to do. I think it was that stage where I think when you're that young, you're kind of going through the phase of, what do I do with my life? Like, where do I actually go? And I think everyone kind of goes through that when they're that young. So I kind of fell into accountancy and very quickly realised it's not for me.
I think, I mentioned this when I was chatting to Elliot, that, that was, I think for me, of just the expectation of my family that I was going to go into university and do something like accountancy and go down that route in life. And it took me a long time to realise, there's more to life than this predefined, status quo that everybody tries to push you towards, and, really finding something that you're passionate about and that drives you and gets you up every day and gets you going is just way more fulfilling in the long term.
Completely.
And that's something that both you and Elliot seem to have got to quite early. You gravitating towards this fitness journey that you were passionate about, and then learning how to monetize it and build a business on it. It's really admirable that you got there so young.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it's perfect timing as well. I mean, it's coming in with the time of the internet. Like, that was kind of kicking off. Yeah. When I started online, and Instagram was actually only just introduced when I started online as well. So that's how long I've been doing the online game. So so the sort of combination of timing and also like we kind of said, just focusing on the fulfillment rather than the money, and then the money comes as a byproduct of that. Yeah.
So you built your fitness business. Yeah. What came next after that on your business journey?
Yeah, so this is actually quite recent. So the last couple of years. So the last couple of years, I've actually gone all in with Limitless University. So I actually sold my clients to one of the coaches that was working for my coaching company. Yeah. Because I had this conversation with Elliot. I'm not very good at, and I don't think anyone is completely, I'm not very good at doing this business. I'm better off going all in on one thing.
Focused.
It's like Michael Jordan only played basketball. Like, he was the best in the world at what he did. And like, I've always prided myself for being like the best in the world as a coach when I was a full-time coach.
Yeah.
Now I'm part of Limitless University and obviously mentoring people and changing lives. I want to be the best in the world at that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of transitioned out of that coaching company, and now all I do is every single day wake up, go to bed, Limitless University.
I think it depends on the way that you're designed to what's going to work best for you. And we started, I think, quite aggressive in our business in terms of we had all these different arms.
Yeah.
And a bit of diversity. We had developments, we had a bio-led portfolio, we'd started our training and coaching business. We've got the Black Lock thing. We got to a point where we were really struggling to focus. And the change that we made last year, so this isn't even that long ago, was to say, how can we converge all these businesses together?
Yeah.
So the training business developed the sourcing arm, which helps find properties for our training clients, but also for us to build our buy-to-let portfolio. The building company, which we'd also made an acquisition of a home improvement company that was helping, do local refurbs, building extensions, all that sort of stuff. It was becoming a huge drain on us.
Yeah.
In terms of time, in terms of cash flow, in terms of commitments. But we had this building company that we needed for refurbs of the properties we were buying. And we'd missed this whole thing of why are we not also doing refurbs for all the training clients that need that support? Yeah. We've already got that client demand there without all the marketing that comes about with third parties. We've got people that we trust and work with, so why are we not working with them rather than third parties that we don't know? Yeah. We shut that side of the business down, and now our building company is only focused on doing property refurbs for our business and for our training clients. But now we've got this beautiful thing of, even though there's different businesses and there's a little bit of diversity there, when we work on one business, it's to the benefit of the others. And I think that's something a lot of people miss. There's a lot of people that are designed differently and can deal with dipping in and out of all these different businesses. And they're good at, learning to delegate, systemize, trust other people, put the right people in the right places to keep things moving forward when we're not there. But that's not the vast majority of people, I don't think. And I think having focus, certainly for us, has been massively beneficial over the last year or so, I would say.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, so some people can juggle quite a lot of things. I'm just not wired like that. I need to be like all in on one thing to be the best in the world at that one thing.
Yeah.
And I've always performed. I've tried it before. I've tried juggling multiple businesses before. I've had like clothing companies. I've had my online coaching company. I've even sold like an online gaming like website before.
Oh wow!
I've done so many different things, web design, funnel, but you name it, I've done a lot. But I've just found like just kind of cutting all the noise for me personally. When I cut all the noise and just do one thing, no one can beat me.
Yeah, it's that just massively aggressive focus and getting the best at what you do.
Yeah.
And as you say, there's very few people that do that, so it gives you a massive competitive advantage already. It's quite interesting. You're talking about all those different types of businesses that you've started. You've obviously got a passion for business in general. Okay, you found out the fitness first, but that grew arms and legs in various different ways. And now with Limitless University, the thing that I love about what you guys do is you're helping a variety of different types of business. It's not like us, for example, we do property mentorship and coaching, but it's very much in the property sector. You guys are helping multiple different industries, and that itself must be great in terms of quenching your hunger for business because you're getting such a variety.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've never thought of it like that. Yeah. But you are right. It kind of feeds what I had before, going all in with Limitless and working with like property companies, real estate, e-commerce, fitness. I've got my variety with my one thing.
Yeah,
I've never thought of it like that.
No, it's something that interests and kind of excites me as well, because I love the thing of going into a business and kind of pulling it apart and seeing how it works. And
it's fun.
It's a really cool thing that you guys get to do, and obviously helping people out the other side is massive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's something that I picked up on when I was, doing a bit of research, as I do with these things ahead of time, and it was a book that you have out.
Yeah.
The Key to Get Shit Done.
Yep.
12 Steps to Completely Change Your Life in 6 months. So can we talk about some of that and you know, some of those steps and how you see most people are transitioning, I guess through a journey of self-discovery and growth, and you know, tell me about it.
Yeah, so I actually wrote that. It's a very, very quick book to read. It is literally 12 steps to get shit. It's very to the point.
Yeah.
And the reason I kind of wrote that is because, again, feedback from a lot of the clients that we work with, the biggest thing across the board is time management. Like the biggest thing, like the procrastination, the like getting distracted quite easily, the not actually doing a lot of talking but not walking. And I've got this analogy where a lot of people spend a lot of time in like a doctor's waiting room. So, you know, you kind of sat there, you might have snooker on in the corner.
Yeah.
You got magazines from like 2-3 years old. Like, it's very boring. You're waiting to go into the doctor's office. I don't like to sit there. I like to walk into the doctor's and go straight into the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Whereas most people spend their life just sat there waiting to walk in. I like to just go in and kick the door down. And that's where a lot of my sort of success kind of comes from. I've always just taken action.
Yeah.
And I've never understood how big of a thing that it actually is that people just can't do that. I couldn't like fathom it.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, over time I just started picking up on certain things with clients, and this is why I wrote these 12 steps. So essentially, if you follow these 12 steps, it will enable you to start taking action a lot more.
Yeah.
So some of the steps are, so if you kind of go through the book, it's prioritizing you first, because if you look after you, you can look after everybody else. So prioritizing your sleep, your health, your well-being, etc. So prioritizing that, and there's actual steps of how to actually schedule it into your diary too.
Yeah.
Condensing time is another important one as well.
I mean, with that first step,
Yeah.
You know, I have historically been very bad at that.
Same.
I feel like overall I'm pretty good at, you know, managing my time, and we do a lot on that. Even in our training, we've got a whole section about managing your time more efficiently and understanding what you can eliminate, what you can delegate, and what you can outsource to try and maximize your value added activity.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff I get, but you know, that first step of looking after yourself first.
Yeah.
I've always been the guy that's like so focused on what I do and my work and you know, my health, or looking after myself, or making sure I get a bit of time out to just breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has been like secondary. I've only ever really been good at looking after myself for someone else.
Yeah.
So like my missus is telling me, you know, you need to eat healthier, you know, here, you know, she kind of looks after me in that way.
Yeah.
I'm not good at doing it for myself. And I think that it must be something that people see all the time, especially people in business, because you can just get eaten up by it, you know?
All the time. It's like, if you're in business, you know that you're not 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
You enjoy working every single day. So what I teach in that book is clear your diary. So it's completely blank, nothing in there. Put your sleep in your diary first. Put time in the gym in there first. Like, put you time first. If you want to do any reading, any self-development, put you first. And then start building your diary up, but backwards from what most people do. And then what you actually find is you've prioritized yourself first, but you've still got about 80, 90 hours a week left.
Yeah. And it's so easy to say, diary's completely open, fills up in minutes, people demanding your time, and you just let it go, rather than saying, I'm not available in these time frames. And I'd say Laurie's much better at that than certainly I am. But, you know, it's really good advice, and it's always that analogy of putting the big rocks in the jar first, and then the pebbles, and then the sand, and then the water, you know.
Literally the same. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, so it's filling up your time with that first, and then my second step is fill up your time with the things on your business, which for most people, they do the opposite. They prioritize fulfilling, obviously dealing with clients, etc. Once you fill up time first with dealing on, so like sales, content, pushing the marketing, the business, everybody else kind of looks after themselves, because you've looked after you first, number one priority.
Yeah.
Then you've looked after bringing revenue in to look after yourself and seeing financially, and then you can focus on fulfilling your customers. And the time that people don't realize the time that you actually have left to fulfill your customers, it's not like you're neglecting them.
Yeah.
You've just flipped the priority order around and just made sure that you've looked after you first. Every single person I've done that with, myself included, I actually deliver a better service because I'm looking after me.
Yeah.
I'm not turning up to like calls at tired, I'm prepared, I'm fucking ready like all the time, because I've looked after me first. So it's a really good thing to do.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of one of my favourite books in selling the self-help world is the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Charmel. And the thing I really like about it is, whilst you've got this full book, I like it when there's a few digestible tools that you can take away and implement in your day-to-day life. And for me, that 20-20-20 formula was massive, where you take 20 minutes in the morning of exercise to get the heart pumping as soon as you get up. And the idea is to get up early before all the chaos of the world comes in.
Yeah.
But, even modest exercise earlier is going to reduce your cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, so you're instantly in a better headspace. It's going to wake you up as well. So not only are you up early, you're alive, you're ready to go. You're not sipping into a 3 times strong black coffee to try and get yourself going. And obviously people can expand that into a proper gym session or whatever. I play tennis on a Monday morning at 6 a.m. That's the start of my week every week, and I am buzzing afterwards, ready to go, rather than just pulling myself out of bed. But then the second 20 is a bit of sort of reflection on the day, whether it's meditation, visualization, or whether it's simply just saying, here's what I done yesterday, that worked, that didn't work, here's what I need to get done today, here's my high value added activities, here's my plan that's going to get me through the day, at the end of the day, where I can say, right, smashed it today. Because if you don't do that, the chances are you're going to get wound up in everybody else's agenda on the day. And I see it in our office every week. I could quite easily do nothing other than react to emails that come through, or the latest query from one of our staff, or this emergency, so I need to go and deal with it. If you don't have some structure in place, you're really going to get eaten up by it. And then the last 20-minute slot is to do some form of kind of self-improvement, whether it's listening to an audiobook, listening to a podcast. And the time frames aren't fixed, and getting up at 5 a.m. isn't fixed. It's about having that structure in your life where you are creating the best version of yourself because you're ticking off these things. So mine's is slightly different. As I say, I do like maybe tennis. I get my self-improvement from a 40-minute commute in the car where I'm listening to a podcast or an audiobook. I just need to make sure I get this other slot in the middle of, right, what is today going to bring for me? And I've tried meditation. Like my missus gets a huge amount of value out of it. I have not been able to get into, but there are other tools that work for me. It doesn't have to be that rigid.
I think for me, it's not. I don't like meditating either, but just detaching. So like in the morning, I'll go downstairs from my apartment building and just sit outside. I'll leave my phone upstairs. I'll have a coffee in the morning and just breathe. And just breathe and just have that moment. So I'm not like a big meditator, not into all the hooky kooky stuff, but just having that moment to yourself is really important.
Definitely. I mean, there are so many kind of tools and tips out there that can genuinely just change your life if you're consistent with them. Right. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other 12 steps. What other things are you trying to get people on board with?
Condensing time is a very, very big one. So, you might find this, so I sometimes get pulled into this as well, even now, but I try and reduce it as much as possible. But it's the analogy of wearing a hat. So every single time that you do something, it's like wearing a hat. You got to, and then as soon as you finish that thing, you take the hat off, and then you've got another hat on, etc., etc. People spend far too long doing that all day, every single day. So what I do is I condense my time. So for example, if I'm fulfilling, my fulfillment hat goes on. As soon as it comes off, it doesn't go back on that day. It's off, or it doesn't go back on that week. I'm doing sales calls, same thing. And it makes you a lot more laser focused and prepared for what you're actually doing. And again, people procrastinate and they're not as good at what they should be doing if they're constantly just doing that. Because your brain's got to go into a different thing to what you're actually doing. It's incredibly, it's like the 2 days that we're in Scotland. They're blocked out. I'm not doing sales calls in between this podcast and speak. Like it's just too much. I can't focus. So it's the same thing. So that's a really, really big one that I see in a lot of people. What
you can achieve when you go into deep work, focus in one area is exponentially more than what you can achieve when you're dipping in it with something. And the inertia to get going again on something, people underestimate that, So I fully agree with you and see it time and time again. And honestly, still fight with myself on a daily basis to make sure you don't fall into these traps, because it's never like, right, you've got the cure. It's so easy, we're humans, to get dragged back down. But the beauty of it is, it's like when the switch is on and You understand your behaviours. You understand when you're procrastinating. You understand you just picked up your phone for the 5th time in an hour because you don't want to do what's in front of you. And it's like, you know, I need to put that away and I need to focus and I need to get this done because I'll feel better when I get it done. You know, there was another book by Brian Tracy, which I really liked, Eat That Frog, and the concept is just getting the hardest, shittiest thing you've got to do in that day done first. Is going to give you a massive kick for the rest of the day to get on and get stuff done. You know, absolutely. I've always kind of lived by that, and we tend to tackle the heavy, hardcore stuff, and you're more mentally prepared for it in the morning, because by the end of the day, if you're dealing with a shitty task, I guarantee you're going to put it off till tomorrow, because nobody wants to tackle it at the end of the day. We're so strange as human beings. We make all these same mistakes time and time again, and the reality is most people aren't even switched on to it, so they don't know.
We talk about this to clients quite often. You will literally beat 99% of the competition if you show up consistently. Yeah, but it's such and this, to be honest, that's one of the benefits that I think I've had coming from fitness, because I've been able to follow this meal plan for X amount of days, X amount of weeks. Like it kind of teaches you that discipline within fitness. Same as rugby, like you've got to show up to every Tuesday night, every Thursday night, every Saturday. You got to be punctual. You got to be on time. Like it's all of these things that do teach a lot of people. But what I find is when they come into their adulthood, when they don't have, it's one of the good things that they don't have a structure. And it's the one good thing that school teaches you. The one and only thing probably.
But you know, there is a stark contrast though, because you have some entrepreneurs who tend towards entrepreneurship because they don't like structure. You know, they don't like to be told where they need to be and when they do it. And so they create this life for themselves. Then the question becomes, like, how do I achieve and move forward in business without some form of structure? And the answer is quite often you can't. You know, you need to create that structure. Okay, create it for yourself, create it on your own terms, but everybody needs that level of structure. And you know, one of the most viral videos I've had on my social media, on my Instagram, was with a guy called Ajmal Mushtaq, who's my neighbour, but also a big entrepreneur in Glasgow. And you know, he was able to tell you down to the last fucking percentage how his days are spent moving his business forward. And that's incredible to me. That's when I know someone's got some sort of entrepreneurial spark where they're going to do well, because they're aggressively protective over their time. You know, he said he's also got an egg time on his desk, so if someone comes in and he knows it's just a straightforward discussion, egg timer's on, get what you need, say out. And then that can seem like really arrogant to a lot of people, and a lot of people be put off with. I like it as well. You know, and interestingly, I had an egg timer on my desk as well, but it was for a different reason. I think it was something Stephen Bartlett said, and he was like, you know, you really should, having an egg timer on your desk remind you of how finite time is, and how important a resource it is. And you know, if you just remind yourself of that every so often, it'll make you take a step back and think about how you're spending it, you know. And the reality is, if you're very fucking focused and good and structured, you can actually get what you need to get done in a week in probably half a week. You know, it doesn't need to be 80 hours of work. You know, you can be structured, get it done, and then say, okay, fine. You know,
so I think one of the things that puts people off having structure is because they come into entrepreneurship, they leave their 9 to 5 or whatever they want to do, and all of a sudden it's like they're broken out of prison. It's like they're free. I can do what I want. But the thing is, you can't enjoy things if you've not suffered or you've not earned it, in my personal opinion. It's like if you ever go anywhere with like a hot tub, let's say, like I've gone on multiple like weekends away with my wife. We've gone to like a hot tub or like a pool, let's say. We've got a pool in our apartment building, actually. I'll use that same example. We used it every single day for the first couple of weeks. Then it turns to once a month. Then it turns to I haven't fucking like jumped in there for ages. Like it just becomes a novelty because you've not earned it.
I made exactly the same mistake. I bought myself a hot tub. Great for the first couple of months, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, fuck me, you need to change the water and do the chlorine every week, and then you need to do a proper change every 3 months. It's like, I've not been in it in the last 3 fucking months. This is just a pain in the ass. And actually what I tend to find is it's about who you share these experiences with. And the reason why it's fun at the lodge is because you're there on vacation with the people you want to be with, not because you've got the fucking hot tub, you know. And that's why when it's just sitting in your garden and you're there on your own, am I going to cut about in the hot tub alone? Some people will, but for me it was about that. And I actually learned this lesson in my mid-20s. Obviously I didn't learn it well enough because I still bought the hot tub, but I learned the lesson of, I came from a fairly working class background, blatantly aware that we didn't have things that other people had, and good upbringing, happy life, all that sort of stuff. But you get a bit of drive. I think Elliot had a similar story. You get a bit of drive in you to get the nicer things in life when you've not had them.
Yeah.
And that preoccupied my time in my early 20s. It was like, get the big money job, I want to have the nice apartment, all the nice things in life. And around about my mid-20s, albeit I was working for a company, but they created a life for me that really was aspirational for me. In my teens, I would have loved to have had this. I had this amazing apartment on Port Baku, which is Azerbaijan, so you're right on the water. When the Formula One's there, Port Baku, literally from a balcony, I can see the cars racing. Yeah. Amazing building, swimming pool and all that in the building. I had a driver, I had a full-time cleaner. I had all these things I would have wanted in life, albeit the company was paying for it for me because I was doing a job for them and it was intense. But I was there on my own. I didn't have anyone around me. I didn't have anyone to enjoy these things with. I didn't have people to come round and have a dinner party in my amazing flat, or come round and watch the Formula One with me, because it's, those are the things that inspire, life, that really fulfill you. And the material shit, it can be nice, but it's fleeting,
I agree. And you got to enjoy who you're with, and this is something I often say to the team is, I want to be 80, 90 years old having a cigar with you and cheersing a whiskey and looking back on everything that we've done. Yeah. Because yes, you can do things on your own, and a lot of people think, I might be better off on my own or whatnot, but what's it matter? Yeah. What's it matter? Like, we're all, it's as morbid as it sounds, we're all going to end up in a box one day. So you might as well enjoy what you're doing and who you're with, exactly what you said.
And reflecting on that every so often is a good thing. People don't like to think about their own mortality, but it can put you into the present. It can really make you think about what you're doing just now and whether or not it's what you want to be doing and fulfilling. And the fact that you're talking about going to Marbella, these things weigh on my mind quite a lot of just, am I getting the most out of life? Am I going to reflect on this and think, I wish I'd done X, Y, or Z? And, it's cool to see you putting that stuff in action, So let's talk a little bit about that. Your transition to working exclusively focused on Limitless. You're talking about relocating now to Marbella, and I guess you've got a serious mindset on lifestyle by design. So what does that look like for you, and how did you get there?
Yeah. I'm very, very simple. We actually lived in Spain before. I think it was when COVID hit, and my online business was doing very, very well. And I was always looking at, right now I've got all of these doors open that I actually never had before, because I think you get so used to working your 9 to 5 or working your employed, and you don't actually ever see these doors that are open. So you might see it online, you might talk about it, but you don't actually get the opportunity to do it. Yeah. Ever since those doors were open for me, I wanted to leave the UK. Yeah. I don't know why, and I can't pinpoint it, but I was like, I need to get away from my little town that I've lived in my entire life. I just need to get away, because there's no one here like me. Yeah. It's like all of my close friends now, all of the people around me, they're not from my area. The people that I've got my gravitated towards, exactly, and become friends with over time. And it's because a lot of people just don't walk through those doors. So we actually ended up moving to Spain. We did move to Spain but only for 3 months, and then we came back. And we came back because my wife just didn't have the same mindset. She was almost like a little bit behind me in regards to mindset. So we ended up coming back, but that really, really affected me, because we came back into my hometown, into Loughborough, where I'm from, into the UK. Then all of a sudden I was thriving, but I'm around people that aren't. Yeah. And I almost had like a solid year during this sort of period where I don't feel like I've really grown, or almost feel like I'm stuck again. Yeah. So this is where the move coming back to Marbella is, and finally my wife is now in that mindset. It took her coming back to really see it. and she knows that I'm super, super happy. Like during the Hybrid Entrepreneur Summit in Marbella, where we met, I was actually sat waiting for a taxi. Everyone else had left, waiting for a taxi to fly back home. And I FaceTime my wife. I'm like, we're moving. I was like, you either come with me or you're not, but I can't come back. I can't come back and stay back anymore. Like, this is a decision that I've got to make. And yeah, she supported me. She was like, I've not seen you smile like that in forever. I was like, I know, because I feel like I'm home. And the thing about Marbella for me is everyone's there helping each other. So, like, there's no ceiling, there's no limitations. It's like I met Jesse Meester at that event. That's the first time I've ever met him. He's hooked me with his solicitor. He's helped me with viewings for property when I actually move out there. He's helped me with my visa. All of these things that he did off his own back. Like, you don't meet those people when you're stuck in your hometown.
And I think there's something about places like Marbella where most of the people that are there aren't from there.
No.
So they've had to build this community of people around them. It's just a different type of person that you're going to meet. And generally much more open and welcoming because they've had to go through that same experience, right? I mean, obviously I spent like 15 years after university traveling, not working, but working abroad. And it was in Russia, Azerbaijan, Spain, Tunisia, Texas for a while, and I loved the experience. It was a fantastic experience in my 20s. But at some point I realised I need to start building something for myself rather than building someone else's business. And then COVID happened and I ended up back in the UK, but I've struggled with it. You know, I came back to Falkirk, during COVID, and it's really hard to adjust to Scottish life after 15 years. And the weather is really fucking depressing. And everybody talks about it. It's like a running joke. But when you've been in a country that you wake up every morning and it's sunny, it completely transforms your mood.
I agree.
And just the community of people that you have in these places. Okay, it wasn't friends and family, and I did miss a lot of that. But, the places I went to weren't always like Marbella, where there's a great networking community of people. Some of it was pretty rough, but there's something that I'm missing. I moved from Falkirk to Glasgow recently. In fact, our videographer sitting over there behind us done exactly the same. He moved up from London to Falkirk to come work with us, which was a shock. We all thought he was catfishing us. And then he decided, after a couple of weeks in Falkirk, this isn't for me. I need to get to the city. And moved to Glasgow West End. I love it outside the city, but I moved because I couldn't deal with being back in my little town. But my mind is always on, the right lifestyle design for me. And okay, I've got young kids, so we're still working that out. But long term, I can see myself spending more time abroad. If not entirely, but like a balanced life of I'm going to be somewhere like Marbella more and more. And as our business grows and becomes more systemized and the staff get up to the level, it's a massive goal in my head because I think life is for living, and there's a lot more living to be done somewhere like Marbella where the weather's always good. It's much more social because of that. You can be out much more. There's so much opportunity to do things in nature because you're not held back by the weather.
100%, and that's what it's about. I think you hit a certain amount of money and it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm not materialistic like at all. Like, I can't remember who I was saying this to one of your team earlier, but I'm the happiest when I'm just full of suitcase. Like, just give me a suitcase and my laptop. I'm good.
All this stuff can really weigh you down, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And Marbella is just a fantastic place where you can be around amazing people. So Limitless is the company set up in Bulgaria. It's an hour flight to Bulgaria. Like, it's 2 hours back to the UK if I need to. But people just don't move. And it's strange to me.
Yeah, it's, but I'm always massively impressed when I meet someone who's taken their life into their own hands, that's, woken up to the reality of what life is and said, right, this is what I'm going to do with it. This is what's going to make me happy. And, it's not an end destination by any means. It's always an evolving thing that you need to kind of take a step back every so often and say, is this still the right fit? But the fact that you're asking those questions means you're much more likely to live a fulfilling life.
Yeah, exactly.
I was listening to you on another podcast recently, and there was something that also kind of thought was, just hugely cool about what you're doing is that you also provide like monthly payments to your family members as well to help their life out. And that's incredible, and I mean that is for a lot of people just a goal that they never think they're going to be able to achieve, to be able to help their brother, sister, mother, father have a good life as well, and it shows a huge amount of altruism in what you've done.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but my parents don't need to live on a lot.
Yeah,
they're kind of like towards retirement anyway. But yeah, it's just something that to just give back. Again, when you kind of hit like a certain level of income, I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Like me and my wife that can very, very comfortably live on €5,000 a month.
Yeah, like
all in. Like we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as long as I've got good gyms, good weather, good people around me, barbecues on a regular basis, I'm good. So anything past that, I don't need it. And this is the fulfilling thing about Limitless as well. Like what we get to do, to me, it's just about helping people. Mm-hmm. Because I've opened those doors and I've walked through those doors. Now I'm trying to help other people do it too.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have aspirations to be like a multi-millionaire. Like there's no point to me as long as I'm free, as long as I can live the life that I want to around the right people.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most important thing to me.
There's a level of wealth, I feel it becomes just a game of one-upmanship, and it actually sounds like fucking hell trying to keep up with that level of wealth. And I agree with you. We started our business ventures to try and become wealthy. There's no question about that. I had this thing from my earlier years where I wanted the nicer things in life, but through the journey, actually what you discover, and nobody can ever be told this, they need to experience it for themselves, is that shit just doesn't really matter that much. You get a nice new car, I guarantee you'll be bored with it in a few months. It'll just be a car that takes you to work every day, and if it's a job you fucking hate, it is not adding any value to your life. But you need to go through that experience to get to that point.
So money's a tool. It's like our motivation now is to earn money so we can provide more.
Yeah,
that's literally the motivation. It's not for anything materialistic.
That's cool. That's really good. And I normally the last question I ask on this podcast, I think we've already kind of answered it anyway, but I'm going to ask it because it's what I do. Is what does real wealth mean to you?
Freedom
to live life on your own terms.
I can do what I want when I want. Like that to me is real wealth.
I think just to put that a step further, I would also say having the presence of mind and time available to be able to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
That's the first hurdle for most people is not getting the time to do the things they want to do. It's understanding what the fuck those things are. Because I guarantee most people, what they think it is not it, Yeah. Like Laurie and I starting our buy-to-lets, think, okay, if we get to 10 buy-to-lets, we'll have replaced our income, modest income, but enough to see you buy, and then we can just play golf every day. I would be bored of my fucking mind, It was a concept because we didn't like where we were and the jobs that we were in and the life that meant. You had this view that the other thing on the other side was going to be way better. Thankfully, through that journey, we found business and we love it.
Yeah.
But, getting to that point where we have financial freedom, we didn't have to work anymore. I don't know what I'd be doing with my time, Yeah. It wouldn't be fulfilling me to be waking up every day thinking, right, what am I going to do today? I'm going to go and play golf again.
So it's like this week, it's like such a cool week for me. I spent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday doing what I usually do, what I do best. Thursday afternoon, I'm in Scotland having a whiskey in all these church bars that seem to be up here. Yeah. All of these converted churches into bars that seem to be up here. So it's cool, it's fun.
Whiskey and churches were good on that. I don't know that combination came about in the right way, but okay. Yeah. Okay, Josh, thanks a million for doing this. I'm conscious that there's more whiskey to be drank this afternoon, so we'll wrap this up now. Thanks a million. But if anybody's looking to find out a bit more about you, about Limitless University and all the things you guys do there, how can they reach out?
Yeah, so limitlessuni.com. So that's our website. That's where you can find out everything about us. or you can send me a personal message on Instagram, Josh Dexter _, or you can send me a personal WhatsApp if you wanted to. So that's +44 7701 381 613.
Wow, I've never heard anyone give out their phone number on a fucking podcast. Well done. Credit to you, man. But that shows how much you genuinely care about helping people. So thanks a million. I'll put all those links in the show note anyway. This has been the Real Wealth Podcast. I'm Alex Robertson, and thanks for joining us on this wealth journey.
Pleasure.